Today's episode, we are going to have to actually take it back. And when I say like take it back, I'm not even talking about like taking it back as far as, you know, going to the last season that I was in, but I'm talking about going all the way back to like when I first decided this is what I wanted to do, right? It was me having a conversation with a few of my friends because, you know, I stay running my mouth about something. And in the process of running my mouth, they said, you know, you should blog all of this stuff. So I started keeping a blog and just basically jotting down all of my random thoughts and having longer conversations about it. And for those of y'all who have, you know, listened to maybe like my older season, I'm not even necessarily going to say my first season because we had to be real and like smush season 1 and 2 and 2.5 all into one before we even like jumped back into this one. But it started out with me having a blog, and anybody who has actually been around me or had conversations with me knows I'm extremely animated. As y'all see me talking right now, I'm using my hands for everything, but I'm very animated. Sometimes there's words that I might say or statements that I might make that you need to have the essence of Tasha G behind it, right? Like you need to actually feel me in that statement. So you had people who knew me, who understood where I was coming from anytime I would write something. But then you had people who had never ever met me and they couldn't get the gist of what I was talking about, or they didn't necessarily get the fullness of the message. So I didn't like having to not only write, you know, sit down and take the time to write out these long, because if y'all have followed me on Facebook or Instagram in the past, y'all know I can get very, very wordy. Just as much as I talk with my mouth, I'm going to go ahead and type out all of those words as well. Your girl got stories for days. But it wasn't helping. You know, whenever there's people that don't necessarily know you, that's just words on a page. So I got irritated because, I mean, I still got my normal day-to-day life I got to maintain. I ain't got time to be sitting around answering random people's questions nonstop. So this was when, you know, everybody, no, I'm not even going to say everybody and their mother, because it was really only like a handful of people that were into the podcast world, because people were still kind of venturing, you know, doing the snippets on Instagram and doing random things here and there on YouTube. But podcasts weren't like mainstream folk stuff. It was, you know, the big names that were already out there. Nobody was really thinking about doing it themselves. So I had a conversation with some friends and they were like, oh, well, you know, yeah, you should do it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Man, listen, when I tell y'all, this is not for the faint of heart, but I had no idea what I was signing on for. I was ready. I'm the type of person, like, I'm going to go in head first. I'm jumping in. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to just embrace all that is getting ready to come to me. But I wasn't really ready. So I go ahead, I get all of my equipment. And I know that's the joke that's going around social media right now, because you got everybody on social media saying, you know, they got a podcast and they just out here saying any and everything under the sun. The joke is Amazon need to quit selling equipment. I'm going to say, yes, they do, because I already got mine, so I don't need any more. Nobody else needs any. But I went on, I got my equipment, I was ready for it, and I go and I'm like, all right, well, cool, I can go ahead and start recording. And just as I get set to record, the pandemic kicks off. I can't go anywhere. I can't have anybody in my house. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm just going to have my guests come in. I had already had, you know, my in-home studio set up. I was ready to go. But then that was the plan. The plan was having somebody physically in my presence, ready to do this. But whenever I can't have somebody there, now I got to adjust. And I don't know how to adjust, because I already don't know what the hell I'm doing about a podcast. So what in the hell am I going to do whenever I have to get live feeds and all of this stuff, you know, and record at the same time? It was, when I say overwhelming, like that's an understatement. But me being who I am, I was like, I'm not going to let this take me out. I'm still going to go ahead and do what I need to do. And I did. I went on and I had, you know, a couple of guests that came on, and we did everything virtually. We did things through Zoom. We did things through Instagram. We did it in different platforms. And I'm still trying to learn the sound. I'm still trying to learn how to manage social media. I'm still trying to figure out, you know, how do I manage a website? Do I even need a website? I don't know. it was just so many things that I did not consider. So now I'm still trying to maintain my normal day-to-day life and deal with a pandemic and try to figure out this podcast, but not give it too much time because that's not paying my mortgage, but also giving it enough time because I am passionate about it. I'm passionate about having these conversations with people. I'm passionate about interacting with other people. I'm passionate about, using my experiences in life to hopefully help somebody else or encourage somebody else. So when I'm trying to figure out how to juggle all of this stuff, I'm telling y'all, there were plenty of times where I sat back and I was like, I can't do this anymore. But then I wake up the next day and I was like, all right, let's go ahead. Whatever it is that I need to do on social media. And I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. So the pandemic goes and does what it does and it's still doing what it does. Are we still in a pandemic? Like, is it still defined as a pandemic? We're in a quasi-pandemic, if that's a thing. But at the time, things were starting to open up a little bit more. So, then you can ask your friends, are you vaccinated? When was the last time you were exposed to anyone? So now I'm having people come into my house and it's changing things up a little bit more. But I'm not having it consistent. So I can't really set a plan. I can't figure out how to make it happen. And again, I'm, putting on a bright and sunny face in the midst of doing these shows. But in the background, I'm telling y'all, I was hella defeated. I felt, like I was not going to be successful at it. There was no way I could get my footing in it. So I said, okay, well, maybe if I take a break. I mean, and yes, it's cool to take a break, but you got to be intentional in that break. Like, you can't just sit back and say, all right, well, I'm signing off and I'm not going to do anything about it. But that's what I did. I stepped back and said, oh, well, maybe if I just let my brain reset itself and I will go ahead and I'll get somebody to do, to help me out with the social media, all of the digital stuff. I was going to get somebody to help me out with that stuff. And I took a break. I came back and it was cool, but I think we were both still very new to their business. I was still very new to trying to build my own brand. So I didn't necessarily know exactly what questions to ask him, what direction to ask him for, what guidance to seek out of him. So we were both just, like tumbleweeds out there, just flopping around, letting the wind blow us however it saw fit. And next thing I know, I'm in the same position again. I'm getting frustrated. I'm struggling through things. I'm getting irritated. I'm not as passionate about it. And I'm not enjoying what I enjoy doing, talking to y'all all the time. So it's not fun for me anymore. And that's when, I've always been told whenever things, and I've told the same thing to my kids, the minute something is no longer fun, that's when you got to sign out of it. That's when you got to back away from it. And sometimes it's just a matter of you having to go and reset yourself, right? But then sometimes it's you having to step all the way back and say, you know what? I'm out. This is not for me anymore. It's run its course. It's had its season and I'm done. But that wasn't where I was when it came to my show, when it came to my platform, because my platform wasn't just about talking, and having a talk show. It wasn't just about having a podcast. It was about building a brand around authenticity, about building myself to a space to where I could bring other people along with me. So there was that, I guess, self-inflicted pressure to continue and do it right and do it well, because I don't want something that, like, oh, this is great, everything is going fine for me, but I don't have space to bring on the other people around me that I feel like are just as deserving for their brands, for their businesses to be successful. So I felt that responsibility and that self-inflicted pressure to continue to move forward. So I continued to try with the person that I had, but it just was not, it wasn't working. It was not gelling. So again, step back. But in me stepping back this time, I realized I need to really sit back and figure out what it is that I want. What is it that I want as far as turning all of this that you see here into a brand? What is it that I wanted that brand to be? What was the intention of that brand? What was the direction of the brand? And so now I'm thinking, okay, if I'm becoming a brand, what does that look like? What does that look like to the rest of the world? And when I tell you I was completely clueless, like, I know me, right? I know everything about me because I done had the same person for the last 44 years. Well, not the same person. I have evolved. Some might object. However, I have evolved. But I know me. So why am I having a problem conveying to everybody else who I am and what I am and, why you should subscribe to me? And I needed somebody to help me out with that. So I kind of sat back and I just said, you know what? I'm going to take my time with myself. So that's exactly what I did. I stepped back and I knew in the back of, I didn't focus on it too much, right? I did not sit back and say, well, today we're going to, work on the background of this aspect of Talks with Tasha or that aspect of Talks with Tasha, the social media, the web design, the platform, any of that stuff. I didn't really focus on that part. I just sat back and said, okay, let me take some time to actually expose myself to people. Not in the manner in which some people may have seen me expose myself to them, but in the manner of which, allowed other people outside of my normal friends that I'm hanging out with, but let me get comfortable with them. Let me start to engage in a larger circle beyond just the people that's like, nah, this is my people, this is my folks. These are the ones that I'm cool with. But really start to engage people as a brand. And as I started doing that, I was like, okay. So I took all of the lessons from the beginning stages and I started to, write those things down as I started to get more comfortable with, all right, this is going to be happening again. But I was still terrified. I was terrified because in the back of my mind, I knew that there was still a possibility, and there still is a possibility of failure. But, people like to say, oh, failure is not an option. It might not be an option for you, but it's still a possibility. So I had to deal with that. Like, no, I wanted to be successful, but I also know if I'm not doing what I need to do, if I'm not setting myself up the right way, I will fail. I'm going to fail. And even if it's not, to others, it might not look like a failure, but for me, I know the goal that I'm trying to accomplish. And if I miss it, then I'm failing. And like I said, you have everybody gets a trophy. People like, oh no, but you did your best. No, that's not all I want. I want something beyond that. So I had to start taking all of the notes from all of the things in the first, actually from whenever I first started out, I had to start taking notes from way back then of how did we get here? How did we get here? And what was it, back then, 2 years ago that you wanted for yourself? What is it that you wanted to accomplish and why did you even start walking down this path to begin with? And as I started taking those notes, I realized that there were a lot of integral things that I missed. And as much as I love to pat myself on the back and say, I got it. I learned quickly. I learned on the fly. I don't have all that time. I still have a normal life. I still have my day-to-day existence that I had to maintain. So I had to figure out how to balance what is it that I actually want my platform to be, how I needed to get there, and the people and pieces that I needed to put together to make this puzzle actually work. And I noticed, like I said, the things that I missed, I realized that I was not as, look, I can post on social media all day. I can sit there and show you all of my workout videos. I can show you all of my, I've been sweating my brains out. I can show you all of the food that I'm making. I can show you all of these things about me hanging out. I can show you, about my kids, which I don't really post about my kids because they got crazy people and then I'll lose my mind and have to curse somebody out on social media. But I can do all of those things, but I wasn't channeling that into, oh, let's work on our podcast. Let's make sure that whatever it is that you put out there is focusing on building your brand of authenticity and transparency with intention. So I can sit here and put any and everything under the sun out there. But what I wanted to do is make sure that what I was putting out there was directed toward me, the brand. So as I'm going through all of these things and I'm interacting with these newfound people that I've engaged on social media, I come to watch this one individual who is just this vibrant, bright person, but she had things in order. And obviously there was a name that was attached to her too that I was like, how'd she get this name? So I go and I started doing a little bit of homework, and this woman was all about branding. She was all about making sure that what the person was looking for was actually being conveyed out to the rest of the world. So this is where you get to be introduced to a fellow veteran. She is a woman who has proven that she knows what she's talking about whenever it comes to branding. So she has more than one stream. That is why she is known as the Queen of Stream. This is my girl, Nne-Nna Carr. Nne-Nna, say hi to Nne-Nna, everybody. Hey, boo. Hey, boo.
Hey. That's my normal say hi.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Miss Ma'am.
Yes, of course. Let me move over here so they can see me.
See that beautiful face?
Child, listen.
When I tell y'all vibrancy,
I went through everything. I lost the eyelash, y'all, so I'm in here looking basic, but for Tasha.
Basic? Well, damn, if you looking basic, man.
My lashes ain't lashing.
Her lashes not lash.
They're not lashing.
Well, we do know this. That the hair is hairing. The hair is very vibrant, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, Nne-Nna, you know what? Before we even get into how I got here, we got to figure out how Miss Nne-Nna, how the Queen of Streams got here. So let's go ahead and let people know how we got here when it comes to your side of the story.
Okay, did you tell them what I do?
No, I want you to tell these people.
I just want to make sure I'm covering everything.
Yes.
All right, guys. So my name is Nne-Nna Carr. As she stated, I am known, I self-proclaim, as the Queen of Streams because I am the queen of monetizing pretty much any hobby, task, or whatever that I can do. So I got started, as you said, I was a military veteran, and I was in for a cool minute, like 13 good years.
She done her time.
And long story short, I started a business kind of on purpose, but on accident, right? Because, okay, hear me out.
Was it acts of purpose?
It was acts of purposely.
Okay.
So, so on that, I did an event for a friend, and when I did the event for the friend, she didn't have any friends here in the area, so I said, okay, you can borrow mine, for a night. And so I let her use, I don't say use my friends, but I got some of my friends together. We were supposed to have a party. Well, I had an idea, and I said, well, how are we going to get to said party? Because it ended up being from 4 people to 45 people, and I was like, wait. We all got to meet each other. Nobody knows each other.
Party.
Yeah, so I got a party bus, and when I got the party bus, it ended up being an event with the party bus. Party bus crawl ended up somehow negotiating entry for 45 beautiful women into 3 different clubs. It ended up being an event, and I did a video on it afterwards because we had a great time. And then once I did it, I got great feedback. They said, oh, you need a better video. I said, all right. So I brought the video. Video went baby viral. I launched an event planning business based off that. And then, because my friend was like, just keep doing it, and I kept doing it, and I fell into business. That's why I say
yeah.
And then after that, I had an event planning business, and I said, okay, you know what? I love this. And then that's when I realized it was my purpose. And I said, this is something I didn't even mean to fall into. And, I felt complete for the first time in a long time. So I went ahead and started my first business, which was Queen Code Entertainment, where we did a bunch of events, had a great time, and that eventually led to other events. Not events, but other businesses.
So you said something, I think that ties into what people always say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
So here it is, you stumble into something solely because of the fact that was what you were enjoying.
Yes. And because I was enjoying it so much, it made me hate everything else I was doing. So, so I was like, this is awesome. Now I'm looking at the military, but you're not.
Yeah.
So I left that, and then it actually propelled me to leaving the military. I kind of just left abruptly. I had no plan. Everybody was like, what's your plan? And I'm like, me. And apparently that's not a friendly answer.
Come on, somebody. You better bet on self. You better bet on self.
What is your plan? I said, I'm the plan. So then I ended up launching some other businesses. I co-launched Evisha Luxury Hookah. And then I also, due to the pandemic, I ended up launching a cleaning service. So I'm doing those. And then on top of that, I also do drinks. I do all kind of things.
Listen, when I tell y'all, this woman is busy.
Yes, and I also do coaching.
Yes.
Yay. So that's what led me to her. But so that is basically a short story of my journey because mine's very long. I'm not trying to take up too much time. But it basically started with me deciding once you learn what you want, you realize what you don't want. You truly realize it to the point where anything that is not in line with what you want feels just wrong and disgusting after a while. And it's like, you know what? I actually left the military because I wanted to put myself in the position where I had no choice but to elevate. I called it boss up or bust. Hey. Because when you get to the point when you're doing it full time, because I went to a job interview, I did that, you know? Everybody was like, oh, go to a job interview. I was like, all right, went to the job interview, and they asked that fateful question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And the first thing that I thought is, not here. And I couldn't say that. So I ran out crying, and I said, you know what?
Oh, no.
I'm going to do this full time. Everyone's like, how? I'm like, I don't know.
Make it work.
I don't know, but we gonna figure it out.
Boss up or bust.
Yeah, and it's been 3 years. I've been doing this full-time entrepreneur thing, and yeah, it's been a rough road, but I'm still making it, you know. And as hard as everything is, that's the beauty of chasing your journey. Like you said, it doesn't faze you because you're like, I know what I'm doing is right.
Yeah. So, like, and I think that's what actually attracted me to you was the fact that, like I said, I'm sitting on the sidelines and I'm watching Nne-Nna, and I'm like, this woman is actually passionate about what she does, right? And no, like, I'm serious. And there's people that's like, oh, you know, yeah, I got this little thing on the side. I'm like, you got this little thing on the side, but here's Nne-Nna, like, no, I got this, y'all.
That's why I said, I'll beat it in your head. You don't know what I do.
Yes, you let everybody know, like, this is what I have. This is me. This is mine. And I'm like, if this is how passionate she is about her stuff, surely she is going to be passionate about what she's doing when it comes to me. Absolutely. And that's going to feed into how I'm looking at my own journey. And the problem that I was running into in the past was that we would have those moments of passion where, you know, that person was excited about what we were working on and I was excited about what we were working on. But then the minute we walked away from each other,
it faded.
It was like squirrel.
Yeah.
We focused on other stuff.
That's a big thing with people, yes.
Yeah, and I needed more than that because, like I said, I do have yes, Nne-Nna, I got sucked into the corporate stuff. Yeah, like,
look, they pay good.
Yeah, it does, but you know, I'm selling my soul daily.
No, you ain't.
No, I'm not. I mean, I actually enjoy what I do during the day. However, I'm not passionate about what I do during the day. So for me, it was about I needed somebody to support me pursuing my passion. I needed somebodies who understood that though for me it might not be boss up or bust, it's boss up or be broken. Period. Right? Like that thing inside of me that says that this is for you, this is something that you can be great at, is going to get broken. And like, I didn't want that to be broken.
Right.
So in watching you, I knew I wanted to work with you some sort of way. So I was like, I only been sitting there talking about bullshit with this woman. You know, she been watching me cut up and act up on social media.
I like it.
But let me go ahead and ask her, hey, so Nne-Nna, so I did that little inbox slide. And I was like, you know, this is where I am and this is what's going on. And when I tell y'all, like, it was immediate, like, there was this like fire that got kicked up in me again. It was a fire of excitement and being terrified. Right. Because I was like, oh, she for real, for real. Right. Like, I'm not going to be able to
tell her I'm not playing with you.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I said. I said, I'm not going to play with you, Tasha. You sure you want this? Because I'm going to be on it.
Listen, don't make me pull up the screenshots because she literally said that to me. It was, don't play with me. Yes. Like, we're serious about this. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it. So I sat back. And I was like, nope, we're doing this. And from the minute I've started working with Nne-Nna, even if I start to kind of lose a little bit of gas, lose a little bit of momentum.
I'm in that inbox.
Yeah, because when we first started, that's exactly what happened. She was like, ma'am.
Don't you owe me something?
But that's the type of stuff that I need. So I had Nne-Nna come alongside. And so I want Nne-Nna to talk about this branding situation because I wasn't even, like, I knew I needed to be the brand, but I didn't know how to make me be the brand. Yes. So when you came along, what did you notice were the major deficiencies that I had in trying to turn myself into a brand?
Your uncertainty of your potential showed. And that's one thing, like I told her, that's one thing I told her. I said, I'm not going to lie to you, honey. And, I
said I wanted it.
And it was like, you could tell that you, like, kind of like, and I say this as somebody who it resonates with, right? You know on a surface level, there's a difference between knowing on a surface level who you are and embracing on your source self of who you are, right? Because you can know on a surface level, I want to be a millionaire. Cute.
Yeah.
How you gonna be a millionaire?
How we gonna get
What
there?
does your millionaire self look like, right?
Yeah.
Like, where are we going? How we gonna get there? Because a lot of people, because you see it every day on Facebook. All millionaires on statuses check in. Everybody like me. Really? How?
Yeah.
How you gonna be? You know, it's like one of those things that you want to do, but you were still kind of uncertain of how to get there and exactly what the, you know, I guess you, in this sense, successful version of you truly look like, right?
Yeah.
Because we have a message, but you needed to streamline your message. You needed to streamline who you are and make it visible to where we are as confident in you as you are.
Man, listen, let's go ahead and segue on this part, right? So I was like, okay, Nne-Nna, here is my website. Mm-hmm. Here is my Instagram. When I tell y'all, she made me go onto my Instagram and I'm sitting there like, archive. Let me just go ahead. Archive.
I said, delete all of it.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, but I'm cute in that picture. She said, Heifer, where is there anything about your show? Mm-hmm. Where is there anything about your podcast? I was like, what?
Yes.
But it's me. And she's like, no, it's all like just this hodgepodge of stuff. And you want to talk about...
That's what I meant by uncertainty, because I was like, I don't know if we fitness, like this is you, but what's this got to do with the podcast?
I mean, it was me. So, but as, and I think this is something that this applies beyond just, you know, seeking out, you know, goals of passion or whatever. But just as a person, you have to be willing to allow people to come in and hurt your feelings sometimes.
Yes.
Break some things down so you can go ahead and build that thing back on up. Mm-hmm. Because it might just be Instagram, but that Instagram was tied to something that I was trying to build, something that I wanted to be successful. So when she said that, I'm telling you, I was sitting there looking at all my stuff just like...
It was necessary, but it gave you a fresh start, you know what I mean? And I think even generally speaking, pursuing your passion or, you know, pursuing whatever, something that you truly want, you have to be open to change. You can't be so, you know, and that's why when people freaked out when they said, what's your plan? And my question is me. Yeah. Because people are so used to having, it needs to go this way and that's it, right? Yeah. If it doesn't go this way, all hope is lost. Abort ship, it's it, you know? Yeah. And so for me, I see my success as fluid, right? My version of success may look different 2 weeks from now. Yeah. I'm not so stuck that it needs to look this certain way, you know, that I'm not open to, because somebody could come and say, you're doing everything wrong. It's kind of like, you know, with that, and then it's like, okay.
Go ahead and say it just like you told me.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't say you was doing all wrong.
For my listeners, after I go ahead and post this, on, you know, to just the listening platforms, the people that can see her face, she was basically saying, yeah, like I had to tell you. Like, yes, all your shit was wrong, Tasha.
But people told me. People are still telling me. And I'm still telling myself, you know, people have to be open to receiving, because there's a difference between getting and receiving. You can get it from other people. Like I said, you are one of few people who actually listen, because you're not the first person I've talked to, you know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of times I'll talk to people and they're so stuck on things happening a certain way where I'll say, well, no, you need to try this way. And they say, no, never mind. And I never hear from them again. But, you know, you have people that actually listen, and when they listen, they get so much more excited because now you have a new viewpoint on what your success looks like. And then a lot of times what happens is your success looks 10 times bigger than you imagine, because at that point you're forcing yourself to look deeper. You know what I mean? Into what you truly want instead of, you know.
Listen, I agree with that 100%, because whenever, when it was all happening, I knew I had to sit back and be ready for anything. And for those of y'all that's out there, for those that's out there trying to pursue their passion, you know, I'm not saying that you just got to go ahead and be like, oh, well, that didn't work. You know, I'm not hurt by it. I'm not phased. Mm-hmm. You can go ahead and be disappointed that you could not sustain on your own, that you had to get somebody from the outside to come and address things or whatever. But you got to be willing to sit back and say, all right, now that that's done, let me go ahead and move on.
And I would even say that you couldn't say that you can't sustain it, because you can definitely sustain it. But sometimes you just need, because I look at it like this. When I'm doing a service, right, you're not just getting a service. You're getting the years of that particular service. You're getting the years and months and days that I have spent learning and failing. You're paying for my failures, right? Because my failures I have in place to help you avoid those failures. Everything I've learned, every book I've read, that's what people are, you know, that's essentially what you're paying for. So it's not necessarily saying, okay, well, you can't do this. It's more like, I can do this, but I can do it faster and more efficient with this help.
And that's still right in line. That statement that you're making is right in line with the brand that I'm saying that I am, is being authentic, right? Yeah. And being transparent about the missteps that I've made in normal life. Yeah. And here it is, this platform that I'm trying to build, this platform that I am building. Period. Yes, this platform that I am building. Yes. Letting people know, like, as passionate as I am about this and as much as I want this for myself, I've had some missteps. Yes. I've had some missteps, but here we are, and there's a lot of people that think that because I'm such a hard ass, because I don't want to say rule with an iron fist, but that's what people think. Mm-hmm. I am one of the first people, I will brag about the type of person that I am, and I'll say it's because I've had people break me down regularly, from the military, to my friends in my my social life, to having people come along, from a professional side and hurt my feelings. But now, yes, professionally, but it's even in the last few months that we've been working together, I've noticed the fact that things are a little bit easier for me, because now my brain is not scattered all over the place. Exactly.
We remove the uncertainty, and it's not even like saying, I guess it's almost like having just layers. We just remove the layers to see what was already there. Yeah. And we just kind of move the layers, categorize the layers where they need to go, and just went down to the source, and then carefully put the layers back. Definitely. That's basically all we did. And so, because I don't want you to fully discredit yourself, because sometimes I tell people, sometimes you have to be happy about the problems that you have. The reason why you had the problems because you had the audacity to start it in the first place, right? So give yourself some credit in that sense.
So y'all
and on top of that, the only reason I knew about your podcast was because you also had not only the audacity to start, but you had the audacity to look within yourself and realize, I need help. And as a Black woman, okay, that is huge, because a lot of times
we just, when I was trying to tell her
I'm sure, but because you had to realize you had to open yourself up to be vulnerable enough for me to even view it, because a lot of people will sit and dwell in their trash. I'm not saying your trash, but I'm saying just the
mess,
their mess, and then say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna fix it, and then I'm gonna figure it out. I got this, because their ego overcomes their common sense in a lot of sense, where they're just like, okay, well, I can do this by myself. Well, if that was the case, it would be done.
Hey, but
it's not that you can't. No, it's not that you can't do it, but it's like, maybe it's just like when I do cleans, for example. That's a very good example. When I do cleans, I walk in, people are like, oh my God, this is the worst house ever, and I'm like, no, it's not. And they're like, oh my God, this is this, and I'm like, it's really not that bad, right? And it's not that I'm trying to lie to them. I tell them you have to kind of check your lens on the way you see things, because when you see things from a level, because like I told you before, when you're looking at it, you're looking at it from a sentimental view, where it's like, I put my heart and soul into this, and here it is. I'm looking at it like, okay, we need to put A with B, C with D, and like I'm doing cleans, I'm like, y'all are looking through trauma that you may have had in the past. You are looking at the mess as failure, as inadequacy. Oh, I couldn't do this.
There's an emotional tie to that
I'm
mess.
Looking at it like your shoes are on the damn floor. Pick them up. I'm going to pick them up, and then I'm going to get it over with. Yeah. I don't look at it like that. So sometimes it just helps to get someone that has a different and more clear vision than you. Not saying, that yours is terrible. It just means that mine is different. I'm coming from an impartial perspective.
Oh, and I'm okay with that, and I think that is why, because like I said before, in the introduction section, was I actually was trying on my own, and I still was finding myself overwhelmed, but it was because I was right in the middle of my baby. Yeah, trying to figure out why.
You were going through your rain with no windshield wipers on.
Yeah,
it's basically what was happening.
Yes,
you were going through the rain, and the windshield wipers weren't working, but you were still going. You were avoiding stuff. You may, hit a pothole too, but you was cool. But I was just your windshield wipers.
And I thoroughly appreciate those windshield wipers, because when it came down to branding, like I said, and those who have followed me, from the very beginning. Thank y'all. Those that have followed me from the very beginning and who are watching me now, they all came to me and they were like, where's all your posts? That was the first thing that happened. And then when they saw that I started to come back on, they were like, I like. And we're talking about seeing things from the outside, right? So, you know, anybody who has probably, you know, come to my house or whatever, they know I'm not the loud and vibrant when it comes to decorations and stuff like that. I'm very mellow because all this energy and all this hype.
You tried that. I was doing that.
I definitely tried it because I was like, oh my, Nne-Nna had me go through these tests and everything, and I was like, oh no, I'm not a bright color. But then whenever you looked at the personalities and colors and everything that are associated with my personality, I was like, oh my God, this is
colors. And I said, see, because you
5 very bright colors. But in my mind, I was just like, no, I don't do all of these colors. She's like, you have to stop looking at what you like to see, and you have to pay attention to what people see of you. Mm-hmm. And I am loud, I am vibrant, but for me, I'm like, no, I'm not the chick that's gonna run around, you know, with turquoise hair. Because Nne-Nna can pull that off. I would look crazy. They'd be like, this woman is way too much. So with the personality and, you know, the loud hair, the loud dress, Nne-Nna can pull that stuff off. I cannot. So, you know, like I said, I recognize that when it came down to me becoming a brand, I definitely needed somebody to come from the outside. And Nne-Nna, thank you, because I know this is just the beginning of it, but I am totally appreciative of the fact that you've held me accountable from the very beginning. But we actually asked some of my followers on social media. I posted to them and I asked them about, you know, why they haven't been pursuing their passion. And we actually had some questions from a couple of different followers. And let's see if we can get it put up here, because I want the viewers to be able to see it while I'm reading it, because I know I don't memorize this stuff. So, I want to talk about this one, because this was actually one from Facebook on my last episode about relationships. He says, so my question is, being married for 7 years, never set boundaries with my mother-in-law. With that being said, is it too late? Because I feel like everything must go through her with my wife, and she is very defensive when it comes to her mother, especially since she lost her father this year. Seems like it's going to get worse before better. Example, she's wanting to tag along everywhere we go. I'm guessing he's saying she, his mother-in-law, wants to tag along everywhere we go, and it's okay for her, the mother-in-law, to speak her mind. But when the shoe is on the other foot, she will become nasty. So, Nne-Nna, I know the conversation that I had. Ma'am. I know the conversation that I had with this gentleman, but I want your take on this. You know, he never set boundaries, and now they've been married for 7 years. And it sounds like this man wants his wife back. So, do you think it's too late for him to set the boundaries?
It is never too late to set boundaries.
Okay, so
I set new boundaries this damn week.
This is a true statement. You did.
I did.
I am very proud of you.
Yes. No, it is never too late to set boundaries, because we are evolving every day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as they say, yesterday's price ain't today's price. Hey. That also goes with your time. Like, my time gets more expensive by the day. You know, people are allowed to evolve and change. So there is never a wrong time to set boundaries for yourself. And if they have a question about it, answer the question and say, hey, you know, I am at a place where I want to, you know, better respect my time and my peace. If they don't understand that, it's irrelevant at that point, because it's like,
I mean, the man can't say it's irrelevant. That's his wife.
You can say it's irrelevant, but if it's something that disturbs your peace, you have every right to set boundaries. If they can't respect that, that's when it's irrelevant, because as long as you're doing it, you have two responsibilities. You communicate in a respectful way, and you make sure that you are not being disrespectful in the way that you do it. And I say, you can never see your mom again. No, you're not saying that. You're just saying, hey, I don't want you to talk to me like that. Yeah. If that's a problem with the wife, then there's deeper issues than the communication.
That ain't your mama.
Exactly. So it's like, look, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
This is why, you know, I'm communicating it to you in a respectful and open way.
Yeah.
With the hopeful, you know, result of you respecting those boundaries. If you can't respect those boundaries, then I'm going to do A, B, and C. You can't draw the line in the sand, and then if they don't like the line, keep backing away and drawing a new line. Because there's no point. Is the damn line.
Yeah, because there's no point in putting a line. If that's the case,
the line. So that's the line, and y'all can figure that out how you want. You know, talk amongst yourselves. But this is the line.
And I agree.
And anyone who truly loves you, and here's the magic word here, values you, will respect that. If they don't, that's another conversation that has nothing to do with the first one.
Yeah, don't ask me what if they don't, because everybody knows my track record and what I'm gonna do.
At that point, you have a choice, because if you give someone and you do your responsibility, your due diligence to be respectful and to let them know, okay, this is what I'm saying, and give them a justified, good reason that's not disrespectful to them on why you're doing it. And if they don't respect it, at that point, you have a choice on what you want to do. Then it's like you're just basically saying, here's the ball. You got it. Okay, cool. Now you don't want it. You throw it back. No problem. Now I have to figure out what I do from this point, because now the ball's no longer in your court. You know what I mean?
Well, and so and let's make sure we address that part too, because you said to make sure that you're saying things respectfully. A lot of people want to address issues when they, when something happens that sets them off, that triggers them, and now they're mad, and you probably are not going to have the best conversations. So the recommendation from my side is, I agree with what Nne-Nna said. I feel like, as we evolve, as we grow, as we mature, as we turn into who Natasha is as a 44-year-old woman versus who I was whenever I was 40, stuff changes, right? So with everything changing, you have to allow those boundaries to shift and move. And you can have a conversation about it, but you need to make sure that delivery is ideal, and not just in the words that you say, but the timing and when you say it as well.
Yes, I'm big on effective communication, and when you communicate, you speak from a place where you're speaking for yourself, but you're speaking as an advocate for yourself. Yeah. Rather than saying, you got me messed up. Here's saying, this is me. Here's how you can better navigate me by doing A, B, C, D. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. You don't need to add all the extras, leave the middle fingers, all that. Just say what you got to say.
But that neck roll gonna be there though, and that finger.
Look, I don't even do that. I'll just be like, okay. This is where I am, and if you can't respect that, that's not on me anymore. That's on you. So
I'm working on that delivery method, but like something gonna have to move, whether it's my eyes, my finger, my neck, something. I'm a work in progress, ma'am. Okay. But we actually had another question that came through that was on this topic. I think for me, I'm not pursuing my passion because I don't think my husband could hold the weight of the household to let me do me. He makes good money, but I don't think he would be okay with taking care of everything for me. How would you or your guest approach that? So Nne-Nna, I'll go with you first. I didn't respond back to her on this one because I had just gotten it. So if you feel like the individual, your husband, your partner, whatever, would not support your vision, your dream, your passion, or you pursuing it, how would you go about doing that?
Well, first things first. And I always say you are going to be a product of your environment, whether you like it or not, right? So if you yourself are really committed to the passion, you will check your environment. Your husband is an integral part of your environment. And I ain't saying leave him. I'm saying evaluate. I'm just saying evaluate. Evaluate your environment. And
Nne-Nna over here branding and breaking up homes.
Listen, I'm just telling you what the truth is. I'm not saying leave him. Now, I'm just saying evaluate your environment because, like I just said a minute ago, we evolve every day. I am not the same person I was a year ago. And the number one reason for that is my environment. I have people around me who align with who I want to be and where I am. True. And anybody that aligned more so with who I was, it's not that I left them. I just put them where they belong.
They didn't keep up.
Exactly. You got to keep up because if you're, again, like I said, we're all evolving. People around us need to be able to keep up. And it's not saying that he can't, but you have to evaluate if he can. Yeah. And then on top of that, or if you don't want to leave, and I'm not saying leave, I'm just saying evaluate that. Like, it's what's cool today, you may not put up with that tomorrow. So it's good to evaluate it now and say, okay, you know what, this is what I want for myself. Based on who he is, does he motivate me? Does he fall into everything that I want in a man when I get there? Like I've had people that I have dated in the past, and I literally told them, I said, listen, I'm just gonna keep it a stack. I'm with you in an unhealthy state of mind. I'm still with my old thoughts. Yeah. I need to evaluate if I'm still gonna love you the same when I'm healthy.
Wow.
It's true. Because when a healthy mind thinks differently, because you will find out, came to find out that a lot of the people that I was attached to, I was actually trauma bonds to. And it's one of those things where you have to first evaluate that person and ask yourself, is he good, for me for right now? Or for when I'm where I need to be, And then if you feel like he can change, and he has to be willing to change. And that's the problem when you're dealing with other people, is because when you're dealing with other people, you have to be okay with that person acting in their own mind. I'm studying the mind right now, right? And the first thing that they have said in every single book I've read is that humans are naturally selfish. We can't help it. We are biologically like made to be selfish. All our needs are done through our primal brain, where we are selfish.
You just chimed one of my friends.
I'm just telling you. And so people are going to always seek self first, and he is going to look to see if it works for him first, and he's going to do whatever he has to do, and you're kind of at the mercy of whatever he has to do for him. And if he is willing to shut your shit down, to build his, that's something you're gonna have to think about. You know what I mean?
Well, so from my stance, and there's truth in what you're talking about, but I also think like pursuing your passion doesn't have to be an all or nothing. You know what I'm saying?
It's not all or nothing, but I'm saying that you have to be prepared that it may not go your way. And are you mentally prepared and emotionally prepared to deal with that?
Definitely.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think if we're gonna, give advice, I think, part of that advice is saying, all right, don't just say, all right, well, hey, I want to become a professional, snowboarder. So I'm quitting my job today and I'm going to go ahead and start snowboarding, to get into the Olympics. You can't just jump into it like that.
No, you can't jump into it, but you have to idealize it. You have to be very specific. It's just like manifesting. You have to be specific about what you're manifesting, right?
Yeah, but you can manifest it and walk in the intentions of going all the way.
Yes, but you have to really get in line and get real familiar about what it is you want. And if I'm with somebody and I say, I want to own a chain of hotel, stores, and let's say I'm married and that man is only good with, good for all of us.
Yeah.
They're, just working at a convenience store and I want to do that. There's going to be issues. Not saying leave them, but get yourself in the mind state that there may be some friction there. And like in her situation, you may have to, if he's not willing to change, because that's what I was trying to get to, he may not be willing to change too much for you to pursue your thing, because we're naturally selfish. He's going to look at it like, why am I changing my life for you to do what you want to do, sometimes. So you have to be okay with, okay, maybe I'm going to have to just hire a nanny. Or maybe I'm going to have to just do it. If you're willing to do that, do it. But you just have to put yourself in the mind state that, okay, this is a possibility. And to plan it out, to actually pursue it, especially when you have kids involved and people you have to actually take care of, you have to plan these things out and say, okay, have that talk with that person and say, okay, look, this is what I'm doing, and be prepared, mentally prepared, because what I'm telling you,
for them to reject what you want to do.
Exactly. I'm telling you to mentally prepare that you may hear something you don't want to hear.
So, like I said, I'm on board with that. Maybe I'm just the nice one, right? I don't believe in just throwing my partner into the deep end.
I'm not saying, I never said leave anybody.
But I want to make sure that we're clear on that part.
No, I never said, it never came out of my mouth to leave anybody. I'm saying evaluate them. Evaluate everybody around you, because I'm telling you this as someone who had to do it. I had to evaluate everybody and ask them, are they going to hold me back? Or are they going to help me spring forward? Because you're going to need that. Because pursuing your passion is not all happiness and unicorns and stuff. You're going to have those days. And the only thing that keeps me going is having people around me who are going to lift me up when I fall. Because if you have a bunch of people around you that you're not sure about, that you know are not going to have your back, you are basically setting yourself up for failure almost. Because if something happens, who are you going to fall to?
And I'm glad so... Of course, if there's anybody else who asks questions or comments in regards to any topic or that I've discussed or that I haven't discussed, feel free to slide on into the DMs and we can have a discussion about it, or you may end up being part of the conversation that we have here. But I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm getting the five fingers again. Are you telling me you're going to steal something from Walmart, or are you just telling me I'm about to be done? No. But that's another part of it, and that's something that's very real for me. And I'm glad you brought it up, because I have to own up to that. Having people around you who genuinely support. And I'm not talking about just say, "Oh yeah, girl, that's great," or "Yeah, dog, I got you." No, like that honestly got you. That recognize, girl, I'm not gonna be able to hang out with you all the time because I gotta prep for my show. And they're exactly okay with it. You gotta find people that are actually, subscribe to you. They might not be subscribed to your goal or your vision, but they are subscribed to you as a person. So you going out and venturing out to go and pursue your passion, whatever the case may be, they are so sold into you that they're okay with, oh, look, I don't get it, but that's my girl, that's my dog, that's my dude, whatever. And they back you up into it.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. You're not evaluating them to see, do I need to leave you? You're evaluating them to see, okay, are you aligned with loving me enough to love me while I fall, love me while I build, love me while I'm not, home all the time? Are you going to make it harder on me? Because a lot of times people make it harder on you, like, I ain't watching the kids, you better figure it out. And now you're scrambling trying to figure it out. Those are honest, and I'm telling you this as someone who has been through it. And if anybody could have told me anything in the beginning of this, it would have been that. Because now I'm sitting here, dang, I done lost this person, this person, this person, this person. Not because they were a bad person, but because they were not, like you said, subscribed to me. So I say evaluate it and be ready for whatever answer that you get.
So you just said that if somebody had told you, if you had somebody to be able to tell you, so you have like about 30 seconds to give anybody who is listening, who is watching, whatever, a message in regards to pursuing their passion, what would it be?
Do it scared. Do it, bro. Whatever it is you need to do, be open to whatever you need to do to, get where you are. My biggest factor of success is I put my ego away and I focus solely on what is going to uplift me and get me where I am. I just really encourage everybody to just go for it. Stop thinking about it, because the longer you're thinking about it, overthinking is a big symbol of fear. Sometimes you just got to go for it. And then you have to make sure that everything that you do, everything that you experience, as much as you have control over, are in line with where you're going and not just where you are. Because it is essentially extremely important. Trust me. And then don't care about what anybody thinks, because at the end of the day, whatever happens to you happens to you and for you. And remember that you are the creator of your peace and the creator of your future and destiny.
And if you're scared to do it yourself, go ahead and get you a Nne-Nna to force you to do it.
Because I'll be on your line.
But Nne-Nna, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in, who is listening later on. If you enjoyed what you heard here, please go to my Instagram at Talks with Tasha G and follow me there. If you want to take a listen on your drive or on your way to work, to the gym, you can find us on your favorite platform: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio. You can like and subscribe there. You can feel free to leave me a review, of course. Also, like I said earlier, if you want to slide up into my DMs, if there is a topic that you want to discuss or something that we have already talked about and you want to continue to talk about it a little bit more, feel free to join me there. But nonetheless, every other Thursday, you can see me here on Ripped Radio Network, every other Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time.
Yay, you did it.